Hello, guys. Welcome back to Lucy Mwangi USA. Guys, I know a lot of you have requested us to do a conversation about parenting in the US. The video that I did talking about the American dream, talking about how tired I am of chasing this American dream. I cannot find it anywhere. I've been here for a long time. And part of the thing that I was complaining about really was how parenting is difficult here in the US, how it's different from how we guys were raised, and how we get shocked by the different cultural differences when we get here. Today, we're going to have that conversation. And to join me for this conversation is a fellow African mom. I'll let her introduce herself, where she's from, where she lives here in the US, what she does, and then we'll jump right into the topic. Hi, and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lucy. Thank you so much for having me. It's always my pleasure to come and share, my insights, my personal experience. I always like to say it's my personal experience
Yeah.
as a mom, everybody has their stories and their experiences. So it's always my pleasure to come and share it with your audience, with our people, and also people having different perspectives, right? Also
Yes.
helps, right?
Yes.
So thank you so much for having me. My name is Mary Murerwa. I am originally from Rwanda. I am based in Phoenix, Arizona. Oh, the desert state, the Grand Canyon state.
Wow. Yes.
It's
Yes.
a desert. Yeah. So yeah, I am a mother. I'm a mother of four. I have four children, two boys, two girls.
Okay.
My eldest is 15 and my youngest is 6.
Okay.
So I am a very busy one.
Yeah,
Right. And besides
that's a
that,
lot.
I usually introduce myself as a part-time content creator because I used to be full-time, but along the way things got out of hand. I think that's one of the things we're gonna talk about in this
Yeah.
conversation. And
Yeah.
then I kind of put it on hold. I do it once in a while. Like I'm not really that consistent, but in 2025 I decided to be consistent. Now I want to come back to being a full-time content creator as well.
We can do it.
So I also am a licensed financial professional and I am a nursing school dropout.
Okay. So you started the nursing school journey, and somewhere along the way, you put it on hold.
Yes, and then I dropped out. So
Okay,
yeah, as we keep having these conversations, I believe we're gonna talk about that,
we
as we're
will.
going. Yeah.
We will. So today, welcome, Mary. I'm glad that you reached out to me. I know I've invited people through my email, lucymwangiusa@gmail.com. If you want to come on this platform and discuss about different issues that affect us as immigrants here from Africa. It's a lot going on, but people are afraid either to talk about it, or they're scared, or they're worried about how people are going to take them and how
Yeah.
they're going to be seen outside in the society. But these are issues that are affecting us, and it's high time that we came out and started talking about them without fear of being stigmatized, or without fearing that, oh, such and such a person is going to see me in a. No, nobody
Yeah.
cares about that. You have to put yourself first. You have to admit that if there's a struggle that you're going through, just know that you're not the only one. And how are you going to know that if you're not talking about it and other people coming in and
Exactly. Yeah.
support you and saying, you know what, you're not alone in this? So, in today's conversation, the topic is parenting in America as an African immigrant, the challenges that we face, the cultural differences, and some of the survival tips that we can share with you. So, we are going to talk about navigating the school system, how social media affects our children, and how it affects us as immigrant parents, overcoming the language barriers. We're going to talk about the cost of taking these kids to school, daycare expenses, and
Yeah.
whatnot. and how we try to balance our work and our relationships, including our families. So tell us about your experience. You have four children. I have one, and I'm fasting. So I can imagine how it is for you. Did you have your kids here, or you came with them?
I no, I came with him. The
Okay.
youngest, who is now 6, was like he was like 10 months when we came here.
Okay.
Yeah,
So how was that like? Because I'm assuming that your older kids were in school already back
yeah, they were
home,
in school already.
and then you had to transition
Yeah,
and then change the system. How was
yeah.
that for them and for you?
Mm-hmm. So first of all, when we came, our first stop was in Maine. Maine, you know where Maine is?
It's
Up in the
cold.
north, in the most northern part of US, close to
It's cold.
Canada. Very
Yes.
cold, very,
Yeah.
very cold. And we
Mhm.
got there during some, no, it was winter. Yeah, because it
Oh
was
wow.
in December, so it was winter.
Okay.
So it was crazy. They got sick, adjusting to a new environment,
Yeah.
snow, all that coldness up there. You know how Maine is so cold. But 2 days later, we had to go register them in the nearest school. So our host families, so we took them to the school where our host families' children were going. So they went there. They did interview, and then they passed.
Okay.
So they kind of transition for children. Children, it's very easy for them to transition and to adapt. Sometimes it's not as hard as us adults.
Adults. Yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
children, it was smooth. I should say it was smooth for them. So
Okay.
they liked the school. They made a lot of friends, new friends. So for them, I was looking at them, and I saw they adopted so fast, and it was a smooth transition. But
Okay.
because I had the two young ones that I was staying with them at home, so every morning, getting them ready, the oldest, getting them ready to go to school, and then I would take them to the bus stop.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
The bus stop, by the way, people might wonder what bus stop. So tell us about that. It's for somebody who is wondering what bus stop are you talking about? How the kids are picked up at different stations, bus stops, and then the parents take them there and drop them off.
Yeah, that was the most challenging. Now, so when we came, so my husband had to go to work, right?
Mm.
So me having two young ones, and even the oldest, were they, none of them was like, my eldest was like 9. So I decided to be a full-time mom, a stay-at-home mom. That's when I stopped, everything going on, and everything to do with my career. So because there's no any other way we could have done that, coming
Especially
having
when you're
coming
new.
from
Yeah.
Africa, from Rwanda. We are
Yeah.
used to maids, or even having other family members around you, your siblings sometimes. So kind of you're kind of having this support system, and when you come here, everything changes because you come as one. When I'm talking about one, most of the time, if you're a husband and a wife, that's all. That's you and your children. If you're a
Mm.
single person, that's you only. You come only by yourself. You leave your friends, your family members back home.
Yeah.
So we had no any other choice other than that. So I had to be a full-time mom. Even today I say I'm a full-time mom. Yeah. So now, because these older ones, I had to wake up, get them ready, and then be with the youngest, the young ones. All of us, like, you cannot leave them in the house by themselves,
And
right?
you cannot. You
So
can't.
in those days, even today, like, but now today, because they have all grown up, they're going to school. But
Yeah.
in those days, when I would be talking to my mom, and she would be asking me, You're always with your children. Are they your handbags?
They are. You better not leave them in the house by
Yeah,
themselves.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, they're my handbags because there's nobody I don't have anybody to leave them with. So everywhere I'm going, I am with them, and that's another challenge for immigrants, for immigrant moms, when immigrant parents in general. When
In
you come
general.
here, there's some some men are not even used
To doing anything. They're
to
not used to
doing
helping us.
anything, to
Yeah.
staying with
Yeah.
these kids, all the
Yeah.
drama of children. Now, some of them even get into depression just because of that. Did you know
Yes.
that?
Yes.
It's hard. They're not
Because
used
they're
to
not
that
used to
kind
that.
of life.
Yeah. For example, like my dad, my late dad, I can't imagine him like changing diapers and stuff because that's not his thing. Like that was like a
How
woman
could
my
he
mom
do
would.
that? He has never
Yeah.
done it before.
Yeah, but if we had to move here with my whole family, then maybe he would have had to help with that something. I don't know, but that would have been so weird.
Yeah.
That would have been so weird.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I would be with my children wherever I'm going, that right? Put them like the young one, put him on my back, and then I have this other one, on, like, everywhere. You have to be with them. So I would, take the oldest to the bus stop, put them there, wait for the bus in that snow, in that
No, yeah,
winter. It was crazy, crazy. And then when the bus comes, put them on the bus and then go back home, start doing cleaning, cooking, everything.
yeah. And the thing with
It's
the bus,
tough.
by
It's
the
tough.
way, the thing with the bus, you're supposed to be there waiting for
All
your kid.
time.
Yeah, so the bus driver does not have time to babysit your kid.
No.
So because he's dropping these kids off at different stations, so wherever you assigned up in the beginning that this is will be the spot where my kid will be picked up, you better be there. You better
Yeah.
be there. Yeah. So you have to be on time. So bring all your kids, bring whatever you're bringing, and come pick up your kid
Mm-hmm.
from there. Yeah. So what about you? Like the weather, did it affect you? How was it?
Oh my gosh. Ah, that one. Again, for the kids, for them, how
The
they
welcome.
adopt so fast. They were so excited. They
Yeah.
got sick in the first few days, like in the first few weeks.
Hmm.
They had allergies. Even us, all the people, we got sick from the weather. But as time went, we got used to it. And then we started liking it, loving it. And then they would go out in the snow. They would be playing in the snow. So, like, really, the first few days, it's challenging. You feel it. You feel it that you see it. You feel it that you have changed, your
Yeah.
environment. Everything is new. Everything is new. You don't know. You don't know the market. You know where you're going. You're supposed to be
To
shopping
buy
groceries.
onions.
Yeah.
You don't know where to
You don't
go.
know your left from your right. Everything
Yeah.
is confusing and challenging. But with time, slowly by slowly, you get used to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I
yeah.
remember, so in Maine we used to live on an island. So there's so many islands because Maine um is near Atlantic Ocean. So there's so many islands. So we used
Okay.
to live on one of those. So
Hmm.
there's a time I had gone to the mainland. So coming from the island to the mainland, it's 15 minutes. So
Okay.
I had gone to the mainland. That's where we even used to go shopping for groceries.
Okay.
And then going to the island, we would take a ferry or a boat, and that's 15 minutes on the boat. And now, because where the boats were, like, I should say, like a station, a boat station or ferry station, there were many different ferries going to different islands. So I came going to Peaks Island, the island where we lived, and it
Hmm.
was at night. It was in winter, snow, it was at night. And then I started waiting for the ferry going to my island, to Peaks Island. So they called, and And because sometimes, not even sometimes, even the accent, the language, like everything is confusing when you're very new here.
Yeah.
So they called people going to a different island, and then I went in that ferry, thinking that I'm going to Peaks Island where I was supposed to be going. We went, and when we reached, when people were getting away, getting out of the ferry, I looked at it and I'm like, this is not home. This is not where you.
Oh my God. So you asked for help?
Where am I? This is not
Mhm.
Peaks Island. So I had gone to a different island. And then I reached to the captain and I told him, so you know what? I think I'm lost. I
Oh,
was
wow.
going to Peaks Island, but this doesn't look like Peaks Island. And he was like, oh, you got lost.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So he had to
When,
take me back, and then he like kind of held my hand until he put me in the ferry going to Peaks Island. And I was like,
oh,
this is
wow.
crazy.
Yeah, because you're new, you don't know. And then the transportation system here is different.
Yeah, it's very
The bus
different.
line or whatever it's called, and then the school year in itself is different.
Yeah.
Because in Kenya, for example, our school year starts in January
Mm-hmm.
and then
Same, yeah,
up
same
to
in Rwanda.
November. So when you come here, the school year, why is it starting in August and September? August, September, and ending in May, June.
May, June, yeah.
Yeah, so that throws you off. And then they have like different layers of like different steps of schooling. So there's early education, the pre-K, elementary, middle school, high school.
High
I was
school.
so confused.
Even high school, it's not high school. There's high school,
Yeah.
junior high
Junior
school,
high, there's
junior,
junior high and
yeah,
senior high, and then there's freshman, and then oh my
sophomore,
sophomore, and then junior and senior. Oh my God, I was like,
yeah.
now which is which? Which is which? And then, what about are you the one that chose the school, or you just went with the schools that your host suggested that your
Ah,
kids should go?
yeah. So before we went to stay on Peaks Island, we were hosted. So when we went to stay in Peaks Island, the island that I just talked about, that's when we moved to our own house.
Okay,
But in the so we stayed with the host family for, I think it was a month and a half. So
okay,
that time, our children were going to the school where the host family's children were going to.
okay.
Yeah. So that's, I always tell people when we are talking about this, the transition in the US, or maybe let me say in transition, relocating, moving from your country to another country. People who host us, that like those people really got the power to break or make
No make or break.
your future life in that country. So kind of like everything they do, you tend to do the same thing. The life they live, you tend to live the same life. Where
Hmm.
they work, you will work there. Where
You will
they
start
go
there at
grocery
least.
shopping and everything, that's why
Yeah,
what they do, you're gonna do that. The
yeah,
children, your children are going to the school where they're going. And that also means that everything they know is the same thing you're gonna know until you were able to figure out and
yourself.
figure out yourself and start looking for different things, different information.
Yeah,
But sometimes people don't do that. They come and get comfortable with where they are.
I know.
And that's not good.
That's not good to be content and
Yeah.
just settle and chill and just feel like now you're in America. Now I'm
Now,
rich.
yeah. So when we moved to Peaks Island, there was a school in
Mhm.
the on the island. So they went to the school on the island.
Okay, was it a public school or because there are
Yeah, it was
different
a, it was
types
it
of
was a
schools?
public school.
Okay. So
Hmm.
here we have public schools which are I think free. So what do you have if when kids are going to public school, what do you have to pay? You pay for lunch or you don't pay anything?
When it's full public, I
Uh-huh.
think it depends. think maybe it depends on the state, but when it's full public, you're not paying anything.
Okay. And they don't have to wear school uniforms, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that's the difference, because back home, regardless of whether it's public or private or what, we have to wear some sort of uniform.
Mm-hmm.
So here, public school, you're like, who is the teacher and who is the
Who is the kid? Who is the student?
student? And you know,
Yeah.
some kids are big. Some students, especially when they are going to like junior high and senior high, they are big. They are big kids.
Yeah.
So you're like, who is the teacher and who is
Yeah.
the
And actually, when we moved from Maine, to Arizona, they're now going, or, they're still going to school that is kind of not fully public. So they were wearing uniforms, and I liked that. But them coming from a public school, not wearing a uniform, they were like, "Oh, we don't like this." And I was like, "Why?" "Oh, we are wearing uniforms. It's just like feels like we are back in Rwanda." And I'm like, "Eh,
Yeah, there's another category of schools called charter schools. I think it's in between private and
So they
public.
now go to
Charter,
charter school."
and they wear uniforms too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, private schools are more expensive, obviously. It's just like home. Home, I think we call them academy or group of schools or international schools or whatever
Yeah,
we call them.
international
So
schools. Yeah,
that's the equivalent here of private schools.
private
So
schools.
depending on where you decide to take your kid is how you're going to pay. But let's talk about daycare when the kids are really small and how expensive that is. How much were you paying for your baby? When did you ever? No, you didn't ever take your kids to daycare.
So I didn't ever take them to a daycare, but there's a time I kind of felt when we were, I think it was around 2022, 21, towards 22.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of, that's when actually I started, that's when I had started going to nursing school.
Okay.
So I
With a
had to go
small
to school.
baby.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So I had to go to school, but I have these children with me. So there's no way I'm going to take them to school with me. So I went to a daycare. So a daycare on the island
Okay.
that was taking in, all the children on the island. Our youngest son back then was 3 years old. So I was like, I want, we had this thought of taking him there
Mm-hmm.
because I had to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I went to ask about, all the requirements and everything, first of all, getting in there itself is not easy.
Mm-hmm.
So they
Mm-hmm.
put us on a waiting list for like a year.
Wow.
So getting a
Wow.
spot there itself is not easy. So we were on the
Yeah.
waiting list. And so besides that, I was looking at the amount of money they were charging. And I'm like, God, wow, this is crazy. So I was like, so how am I going to do it? Yes, I have to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
My husband is working. He was the only one working. And now, so like really, how is it going to be? Like, how are we going to do it?
It's a lot.
So I decided to be doing online. And then
Okay.
I would go to school once in a while, especially during the weekends. But weekdays I couldn't,
You
I
can't.
couldn't do that.
You can't.
Because daycares are so expensive.
They're and the younger the babies are, the more expensive daycare is.
Exactly.
The younger they are, because they need a lot of care and a lot of
Attention and
attention,
care. Yeah.
the more expensive it is. When I was also in nursing school, when I had my baby was small, 2 months old. That's when I went for clinical for my LPN.
Mm.
But luckily, my neighbor had, you know how this, when you have your mom come from Africa,
Africa, yeah.
and they are here. Maybe they have a green card, and they are here staying with you
For some time.
for some time. So she was like my next door neighbor. So it's by God's grace. I asked her if she can watch my baby for me because I was like weighing the options. Should I like not go to school and become a CNA for another extended, I don't know how long, and I wasn't making that enough money. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, since I've already done the prerequisites for the LPN, and now they're calling me just to finish 1 year to do 2 semesters and be done.
Mm.
Let me see if I can find somebody to watch the baby for me. And
Yeah.
she was gracious enough to do that. I didn't have money; I was broke,
I
but I
know.
but I was paying her $50 a week at that
Yeah.
time, and now when I look back, I'm like, that is so little.
You paid $50 a week?
Yeah, because that's what I was paying her. We negotiated. I said I don't really have money because I wasn't working. I wasn't working full time. I was only working on weekends.
I'm pretty sure nobody can pay that money today. That
Oh, no,
was
no, no,
like, yeah.
no. So when that was done and she was ready to go to like an early, like a daycare. Oh my God, we were paying 180 a week.
Yes.
180 a week, and that was back in the day. So I was looking on our Delaware website, and our average for Delaware is 640 a month, and I feel like that's even so little. But it depends on the number of children that you have, the age. The younger they are, the more money that you pay, and also it depends on location. And these are private daycare, so they can charge
Yeah.
you whatever they want. So
Mm-hmm.
it depends on the location and the type of childcare, whether it's like a group daycare or if it's just a
Yeah.
small or one
Yeah.
on one.
There's something that I saw people in, in our community here, which they're doing. So they bring like five mothers, and actually at one point I thought about doing it. I've been
Hmm.
trying to do a lot of things.
Okay.
So a group of like you said, if you have fellow Africans, close living close to each other, and then they would bring all their children for you. You stay with them for that day, and then tomorrow you rotate. You kind of rotate.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you kind of rotate. So the next day you take them to Lucy's house.
Okay.
The day she's off, and then next time you take them to Mary's house when she's off. That's what they do.
So it's like a private nanny, but
It,
but in a group.
exactly. So, and there's that one, and then there's another one where they like your neighbor's mom, the one you were paying $50, and so I had a friend who also had her mom visiting. So when I went there to talk about, if I could bring my son there and leave them with them, so they were charging $100 per week,
Hmm. What? Hmm.
and I was like, no, it's not gonna work. Also,
Yeah, it's very expensive. So you're torn between. So now, do I go to work? And even if I go to work, whatever money I'm paying, I'm coming to pay
you're
these
gonna
people.
pay that to for
Yeah,
the care of the child.
yeah, and
It
that's
doesn't
why
make any sense.
a lot of moms opt to just stay home.
Yeah,
They just stay home to raise their kids, and if you're lucky to have a husband that has a job, then the husband can go to work and see if that.
but again, Lucy, it's also not easy, for the husband, like depending on one country.
Yeah, it's not.
Life is expensive here. Everything is costly. So if
Yeah,
one person is working, even that money is not enough to
it's not
take you
enough.
through.
It's
It's
not.
not. It's not enough.
Yeah.
I was looking for anything that I can do from home, you know, and taking care of the kids, but also trying to bring in an extra income, even if it was $1,000 or $500.
A month,
It
yeah.
made a lot of difference. And I did a lot of things. We're gonna talk about that next time when we are, in our next conversation. But
Yeah.
you find that if it's the husband working, when you're lucky enough, you have a husband who is working, even your life is like you're really struggling.
Yeah.
You cannot
And
survive on one income
even
as a family.
when you have four kids, even for you as the mom, you're home all day with four kids. You're home all day with four kids. That's a lot of stress to your
Yeah,
brain.
your mental health, you
Yeah.
were exhausted. Like I remember during those days, I had a lot of headache, like
Yeah.
headache that was always constant.
Yeah.
Always. I was morning, evening, late in the night. I had headache. I was always complaining of headache. And
Yeah.
that also comes back to us, not being used to staying with our own kids for a long time.
You're forced by circumstances to be home with the kids, and then that affects you as a person. That affects the quality of life of your marriage, because by the time your husband comes home, you're already stressed
You're
out.
already done. You're already stressed. You're already
And he,
complaining of headache. You're already exhausted. You are done.
yeah.
And
So
I remember maybe you would ask me this, but actually when I started realizing this was the time after like 2 weeks when we got here. We had no bondage between us. We had no bond. Like these children, I would be telling them to do this, they would do opposite. And then when I try to talk to them, they would be like, they would not be understanding what I'm trying to tell them. And then one day I sat, I was like, my oldest daughter, who is now 14, she's almost 14. There's a time I would be talking to her and she would go into her room and crying like, I'm like, this child did, like, I was wondering what did I tell her, like, and then I realized because we didn't know each other. I should say that we didn't know each other. Why? Because back in Rwanda, they grew up with maid, right? You wake up, you give your child to a maid, you go to work, you come back in the evening. The child has spent whole day with the maid. You don't know what they were telling them. You don't know what they were telling them. So you just see them for hours in the day. Now
mhm,
here is me staying with them for like 6 hours or 8 hours, even 10
24
hours,
hours a
and
day.
even 24 hours. Like you're with them all the time. So that created conflict between us because we didn't know how to live with each other for that prolonged period of time. So that
Yeah.
was also another challenge. And I was looking at it. Now I see parents in Africa, they don't have time. They don't get time with their children. They
And
don't.
that's
When
what,
you
yeah,
come here,
that's,
that's when you realize it, especially when you decide to be a full-time mom. You have time with them. You get to fight with them.
you don't have an option. You don't have
You
you
have
have
no
to be in
choice.
their life. Yeah. You have to be
Yeah.
in their
Like
lives.
they wake up, you're there. You wake up, you're there. So you're with them
And
full time. So, but as time went, and then we adjusted, we started bonding, we started understanding each other. Like we now got on the same page, and
yeah.
efforts were done. But I saw it was, I didn't have enough time to spend with them when we were back. Though it's challenging, but on another side, I think it's good.
Yeah, because the opposite side of that is that, so it's good that you're spending time with your kids, because one of the things that my daughter was talking about was that, because in the morning we just put them in the bus, they go to school, they're in school all day. I'm at work, or I'm in school, or I'm worried about my own things.
Yeah,
Then there was not that time of spending time with your child to figure out different phases of life, what is going on with them.
yeah.
Because you're just shipping them to the school. They come in the evening, they do their homework, and then they go to bed. So instead of like being with them and taking care of them and bonding with them, you're just sending them to the school, and they feel like as a parent you're not present. Yeah, what
Mhm.
about the people that do homeschooling? Have you ever tried that?
I we had a neighbor on the island who was doing homeschooling for her children,
Hmm.
but the stress that I had of of taking care of these children full time, I could not think about adding homeschooling them itself. I saw that especially during COVID. COVID
Yeah.
schools stopped and children were doing online. It was
Hmm.
crazy. It was crazy. So I looked at it and I'm like, no, 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 no homeschooling for me. I cannot afford it. No way.
And then even their syllabus is different.
Mm-hmm.
Their syllabus is different because sometimes my child will bring home homework, and I'm looking at that and I'm like, what is this? Like I don't understand.
I know
I
it's
don't understand
crazy.
it.
Even me,
Yeah,
even today, I'm lucky because I have these old ones. Now they understand whatever they're
better.
studying in school. But
Yeah,
when I look at their homeworks, I'm like, I don't understand it. Like I don't understand. I don't really. So I call them, come and help me. Come help your brother. Come help your young sister.
yeah.
Yeah, it's different.
It's very,
If
very
you had,
different.
if like somebody like me who have not gone to school here, I'm not gonna help this kid with their homework because I don't know what I'm doing.
But some people say that this one, the education system here is simplified. Ours is harder. And here they're just offered things on a silver platter, and you
It,
have
it is.
all this tutoring, all this support. You have the study guides. You have this. You have the other. Back home, it's you are on your own. You're
I'm
on your
talking with
own.
this when I'm talking with these old ones, they tell me they have a test, right? And
Mhm.
then I'm driving them to school. They are doing their homework from the car. And I ask them, so what I doing? I'm doing my homework, or I'm doing I revising or doing study guide. And I'm like, so they give you study guide for you to do the test. And yeah. And then I remember how we used to study when you have a test or a quiz or an exam,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The way we
You
would be
study everything.
studying.
You study everything because you don't know where the test is going to come from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here, yeah,
So,
theirs is kind of is easy, is simplified. I
yeah.
think it's tailored like, yeah, it's not like ours. Ours is, it's hard, it's difficult.
So when you took your kids to the first school, was it like mostly white, or was it mixed, or was it mostly African Americans? What kind of school was it? What was the population of the kids there?
So on the island, because actually when I'm talking about Maine, our first, like really our experience in the US is on the island where we lived.
Hmm.
So before we went to the island, staying with the host family, the population was black, immigrants, black, and then white. But when we went to stay on the island, my children were the only black kids
Mm,
there.
okay. So how was
So
that? How was
I know,
that for
right?
them and for you?
Right. By the way, the first thing when we were moving to this country, one thing that I used to think about and I get terrified was bullying my
Yeah.
children, right? As a
Hmm.
mom, I would sit and think about the day they will be bullied, and I'm like, whew, I I don't like that day. I couldn't think about it. So when we went to stand on the island, the like my children were the only black there, the black kids there. But the good thing with the island that it was a good is the community was so amazing. We were the only black family there, Black people on the island.
Mm-hmm.
So they knew us. They knew who we are. They knew where we came from. They knew how long we're gonna stay there. So they
Mm-hmm.
knew everything. The community knew us, and they were nice people. They were really, really nice. They were very, very welcoming, very kind, very supportive. Oh my goodness, they were very, very nice. So like the whole community, even the school. The school was small because the island is small. So the
Mm-hmm.
children were like the school was really small. So they
Okay.
would not bully them. So they had an amazing experience on the island. So something that I used to get, terrified of when I thought about them being bullied on the island, it was different.
Okay.
Yeah, it was amazing. They had an amazing experience there.
For me, for my daughter, she went to the same school for 12 years, like
Oh,
from pre-K to high school.
to high school.
She went to the same school. There are pros and cons of that, obviously.
Yeah.
There's advantages and disadvantages of that. But it was a majority, like 90% white school, and about a little bit of Indian,
Mm,
and then African American. There's a very small percentage, and then Africans, like people from African origin, like a very very small percentage. And I think the teachers were mostly white and just a spotted African Americans here and there,
mm, mm,
but mostly, and that is different. That's different for our kids. And I feel like me as a parent, as an African parent, I wasn't well equipped to prepare her for that. You know what I mean? Because I don't have that experience.
yeah.
So she wasn't well prepared for that kind of exposure and that kind of environment. So
Mm,
a lot of things happened during that time. And as a parent, I feel like I failed to notice, either from a point of ignorance because I didn't think it was a problem, because I didn't understand that, you know how when you're in Kenya or in Africa, you think that because somebody's going to a majority white school, that is a better school,
yeah.
and it's rated higher. So you're thinking you're doing your daughter or your kid a favor or a
Mm,
good thing, and you're preparing them for the future
yeah.
by taking them to this school. But you don't know about the bullying that I'm saying, the shaming, they talk about your hair as an
Your
African,
hair, yeah.
how your hair is different, and they want to point out how different you are every time they get an opportunity. And that is not good for a child trying to grow up, a teenager, because of their self-esteem and stuff like that. So
Mm,
for parents, I think it's important for us to be like aware, uh, to just remember that that is something that we need to be supportive of our children. And even if we didn't grow up in that environment, just know that your kid is here now. She's black or half black, and
yeah.
and and
Yeah.
because of that environment, should prepare them for that. To let them know that they are enough, they are beautiful, they are okay the way they are. They, no matter what everybody around them says. So that's one thing that I feel as a parent. It's a learning curve, and we said we are going to give you our experiences and our survival tips. So that's a learning
Yeah.
curve for me. That is something that I learned. So it's not always, we are not
Yeah.
doing them
Yeah.
a favor. It's not always a good thing for us, for them to be in those kind of schools. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And then something else I also noticed it, Lucy, when you, I don't know, back in Kenya,
Mhm.
but now I'm talking from the experience of a father, because just like I mentioned, even myself, I was not spending much time with these children when we were back in Rwanda.
Mhm.
So I was forced by circumstances, like you said. I had no
Yeah.
any other choice. I had no option other than being with them all the time. Now, me being a mother, and I don't have much time with them. And then how about their father? Like fathers, African fathers?
Yeah.
Mm-mm. No, no. And that
Yeah.
also kind of creates also this conflict between children and their fathers, right? Now they also don't know each other. And now, I'll give you an example. Sometimes you call a child and then they'll be like, the child says, what?
I know. If you're in Africa, you will not say that. You will not say that if you're in
Not
Africa.
right? But here it's a normal thing. And that also now, that brings me back to what we were talking about, even the cultural differences, right? The cultural differences. And then you'll be talking and she'll be asking you, why? You tell him or her, do this, and they'll ask why.
Yeah.
Why? Those, us, we never asked those questions, right?
No, no, no. Who are you
And
asking?
now here you find yourself, your child is asking you that, and then I'll be like, why do you ask that? Man, that's the American way of doing things, right? The
Yeah.
child has their full rights to ask why. Why? You tell them,
Yeah.
go here, do this, and they'll be asking why. Like, so that also is challenging itself. How do you
Yeah.
communicate to this child that that's not the African way of doing things? Now, for my children, I always tell them, we are in this country, but we are not from here. That's what I always try to tell them. We are here, but we're not from here. We are from Rwanda. So we do things the Rwandan way. And yes, I tell them that, but I know it's challenging. So how do you, like,
It is.
as a child, how do they balance that? You're telling them you're from another place, but they see themselves here.
Yeah,
They,
it's confusing.
it's so
It's very
confusing.
confusing for them as well because they don't know which one to
Which
follow.
ones to,
Yeah.
where to go, how to
Yeah.
conduct themselves. Should they take themselves as Africans? Are they Americans? Are they
What are they?
Kenyans? Are they Rwandans? Are
Yeah.
they, who are they? What?
Yeah.
It's confusing, right?
It is. Yeah.
And but you also, as a parent, you're also like, so if I just give up on this, what am I doing? Am I doing the right thing to them?
Yeah.
Or when time comes, they will go back home. So what kind of people will they be? You know?
Yeah, somebody in the comment section when I posted that video, it was one of the kids that they're not kids anymore now, they're older. It was somebody that was raised here from a Kenyan. They came when they were little kids. They were small, so they grew up here, and they were saying they understand what I'm saying, but what they were saying is like, as Africans parents, you need to understand that this is a new generation, this is a new setting, we are in different times, and try to accommodate and and we just hanging on to our traditional values which we love
Yeah,
so much, but
yeah,
at some point we pick the good and we try to mesh up with the modern times, because if we are so rigid, that's how we are losing our children. But as far as like language and figuring out which way to go, I was like really torn, because my late husband was Black American.
mm.
So here I am with this little kid trying to figure out, how do I teach them my language, my culture, my this? Whereas I can't even speak my own language in my own house because my husband does not understand a
Cannot
thing I'm
understand what.
saying. So the default language was English. So English became the default language, and I tried she was growing up to teach her at least Swahili, at
Yeah,
least Swahili, and that didn't go well, because kids pick up from what they're hearing, especially when they are very, very small and very
yeah,
young. And
yeah,
because I wasn't communicating in Swahili every day, she was just picking up what she was picking up, which was English.
yeah,
So trying to teach us Swahili or even Kikuyu, oh my
yeah,
God, that
yeah.
So that's another challenge. That's another challenge that we face. And then later on, you're like, oh, I wish she learned some of that, you know. But it's challenging because how do you learn it if nobody's talking it, speaking it as a conversation in the
It's
house, you know?
hard. It's
Do you guys
hard.
speak your language?
Yeah. So I should say that I'm kind of traditional. I don't know. I'm too traditional. So this so like our oldest children, between them and the youngest, there's a difference of 6 years.
Okay.
So the oldest really influenced the youngest.
Okay.
So the oldest, even today, you will never catch me talking to them in English. There's no such a day.
That's good.
I talk to them in Kinyarwanda. I make them respond to me in Kinyarwanda. If if they answer in English and I'm like, ha. Sometimes I pretend as if I haven't heard what they said. So I tell them, put that in Kinyarwanda.
Mm.
I tell
And they
them,
will
put it
speak
in
it.
Kinyarwanda. So
Yeah.
I'm trying so hard to make sure that at least the oldest, they don't forget the language.
Yeah.
And now the youngest, oh my God. So the one who is now almost 8, she understands Kinyarwanda, but she cannot speak it. And now the youngest, who is now 6, for him, he doesn't even understand it. He doesn't speak it. He's just there. When I talk something in Kinyarwanda, he'll be like, what did you say, mommy? What did you say? He'll even bring his ear.
You bring the ear.
Like he doesn't know anything.
Oh wow.
And that when I see that, I'm like, so now, my mom doesn't speak English. My everybody back home, none of
Yeah.
them speaks English. So now I'm worried when we go back, which language would they be talking to them? And
Let me tell you
sometimes when I
something.
give them the phone to talk to my, my
They
like my
don't.
mom,
Yeah.
they don't know what to say because she's speaking Kinyarwanda, they're speaking English, is not understanding.
When I went to Kenya with my daughter, that is the challenge that I was facing because
Yeah.
our language, or at least for the most part, most people speak English and Swahili, but she doesn't know Swahili.
And
But
really,
you know what I realized, that if she stays there long enough, she's going to learn because she's hearing it, and the nieces and nephews are talking.
yes. And
They are
that's what I
talking the
also
language
said. I
to
was
her.
like, so these young ones, when they go back and they stay there for like a month, 2 months, or six
Yeah.
months, they'll
Mhm.
figure out
They'll pick
they'll
up
figure out
things.
themselves.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I stopped stressing about that after that because I saw that she's
Even
gonna pick up.
yeah.
Yeah. I stopped stress. I was stressing so
Yeah.
much. I
She
was like,
will.
oh my
She will.
God. Yeah. Yeah, she will learn it. If she really wants to learn it, she will learn it. And if we ever decide to go back home, that's the language that a lot of the nieces and nephews will be speaking to her anyway. So she'll
Yeah.
she'll catch
I
up with
also
her.
figured out the same thing. Yeah. If you go through these kids, even today, as young as they are, if you go throw them in wherever you put them, they will learn the
They'll
language.
adapt. Yeah,
They
they'll adapt.
cannot live there for 6 months, a year without trying to speak the language. There's no way. Even us as
So
adults, if they take you to France today, you will force yourself to learn French and to speak it.
mhm, survival, survival.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So what can you, as we wind up, what advice can you give to people who are coming in, especially people who want the green card and they're coming in as a family to settle here? They have no idea about America. They hear us talking about the US as land of opportunity and this and that. What advice do you have for them, especially if they have children? What can you tell them that will set them,
First
like,
of all,
have them prepared?
first of all, they have to come with the plan. If they have young children, They first of all have to come with a plan of how those children are going to be taken care of. If they have to agree on that before they even get on that airplane coming here. You, the mother, are you going to be a full-time mom? Are you going to take care of the kids all your life until these kids are going to school, and then you're going to figure out how to start your working life and everything? So they have to have that plan, because really that is something, even myself, I wasn't prepared for that. I don't know what I was thinking about. We, we never talked about that. But when we got here, I was like, so it was the obvious thing I had to do, right? But when you prepare for that ahead of time and you know you're coming here and you're going to be a full-time mom, it gives you time to prepare your mind mentally, your mind, So if I'm going to be a full-time mom, yes, I will do that. But also you plan to have to if you're going to stay home and take care of the kids, like we said, the income of the husband of one person in the family is not enough. As a full-time mom, you also have to have, on top of whatever you're doing at home, taking care of the kids. I think it's a good idea also to have something that you can do from home. I'm talking from my personal experience, but which I think is also something that people have to plan ahead of time. You're gonna take turns. The husband will work in the morning maybe, and then the mother is going to work at night. That's also something that you need to prepare ahead of time and talk about it and lay all these plans and agree on everything before you even get here, before you find yourself in this dilemma when you're not prepared for it, right? So that's one thing that I see most of the times. That also sometimes it causes misunderstandings between couples, between families.
It will.
Somebody has been working back home. Now you get in America, you're gonna be a full-time mom. You didn't have time to prepare for that.
No.
You've been working all your life. All of a sudden now you're going to be in this kind of environment. You need to prepare ahead of time and be ready for that. That's one. Two, know that there is nobody in America. There's no maid. We don't have maids here. So America is
They're
not
very
for
expensive. Can't afford.
very expensive. They're very expensive. You cannot afford them. So it's not, I always tell people America is not for lazy people.
No, it's
you
not.
have to be as strong as you need to be, because now when you come, you have to figure out how to do everything for yourself. You put your hands at work. You work. So if you're somebody who is not used to working, you're not used to cleaning your house, and now you're going to
Waiting
clean
for
it
your maid.
because you had a maid who was cleaning it for you. Now you're gonna clean it. So all those things, people need to come when they are prepared. There are no maids, so you have to go to work. Sometimes you need to be flexible, especially when you have teenagers. Teenagers.
Especially that,
Yeah. There are a lot of things that influence these kids in this country. So you have to learn how to go along those, along with them, but not really being taken all yourself by them. So everything has to be measured, they should say. And that
balance.
As parents, it's challenging. Balance. It's challenging. It's challenging. But again, you have no choice. That's what you gotta do.
We are
If
here,
you don't,
so we have to help
they're
our
gonna
kids.
learn all this kind of stuff from their friends, from social media, from TikTok, from YouTube, from everywhere. They're gonna learn all these things, and you won't like it. So you better be flexible.
Yeah, that's good advice, because a lot of people don't
is hard.
get that. Yeah, a lot of people don't get that. So I hope that they will listen, and I hope they will take your advice as they come in. I hope that they will be prepared. We'll have more conversations in the future. I would like us to talk about relationships, how we balance that, our marriages, how different they are, the cultural differences in our marriages, a marriage here and a marriage back home. Like you said, it's a little bit different, and sometimes it's a lot different. So we can
Yeah.
talk about that in our future conversations. We can talk about stay-at-home mom and having like working from home and how that is. You can talk about your like financial profession and how what you do and to help people, what services you offer people, and we can do all those in our future conversations. So I really thank you for coming through today, and also
Yeah.
for reaching out through the email. I appreciate that. So hopefully
Yeah.
this is the
Yeah.
beginning of
This
something
is
good.
just a beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so
So
much, Lucy, for having me. Yeah, I'm always ready, you know. So
okay.
let me give you some short story. So that YouTube channel you see in the ITV, it used to be Tujendane TV. And Tujendane
Okay.
in my language means let's journey together, or let's go
Okay.
together, or walk together. So
Okay.
what that meant, like I also wanted to go with people, to hear people's stories, experiences, share with them, and every kind of information that would help somebody out there who
Yeah.
would listen to it and get inspired and get, change their lives. And I believe that's what you are also doing. So I'm
That's what I'm
always
trying to
looking
do.
forward
Yes.
to this kind of conversations. So you never know, somebody might pick one thing or two which is going to help them in their own lives, right?
Yeah.
Nobody knows everything. And nobody knows nothing, right? So
That's
there's
true.
something that somebody knows, and there's some things that somebody knows. When they get together now, they make something big and great. And that's why we are
Yeah.
here. All these things we are talking about, it's not like we are discouraging people. It's not like we are scaring them away. It's not like we are threatening them away, but we are trying to share information that can help. And
Yeah.
that's why we are here. So yeah, let me have me another time. I'll be ready to share whatever we will be talking about. Thank you so much
Good.
for having me.
Where can people find you? You have two YouTube channels or one?
Oh yeah. So I have so I have the ITVs in Kinyarwanda. For those of you who wanna learn Kinyarwanda, go there. And then I have Life with Mary, the one that I now I'm gonna start creating content in English, because I realized that I interact with so many people who
Yeah.
don't even speak Kinyarwanda, yet those
Yeah.
people could be having information that would help other people. And that's my
Yeah.
only mission. So I'm starting now to create content in English. So that gender neo at the ITV is for my Rwandan speaking
Community.
people
Yeah.
who understand my language. But for English, it's Life with Mary.
Okay. So make sure you put some more content there. You can invite me to your channel. We can talk about different things.
Oh, we're
Follow.
gonna do that. I want us to talk
Yeah.
about the nursing journey, the one that I
Oh
dropped
my
out.
God.
Yeah. I'm looking forward
Oh,
to having those conversations with you as
oh
an
my
African
God. Yeah.
immigrant
Yeah.
nurse here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That has been a challenge. That has been a long journey. And I
Yeah.
don't know whether it's over, but I'm still working on it. But I'll be happy to come to your channel. So thank you so much, Mary.
Thank you.
Make sure you follow Mary on her YouTube channel, Life with Mary and ITV, and join us again for more conversations. Thank you, Mary. Thank you guys for watching.
Bye bye. Thank you, Lucy. Bye bye.
Bye.